Talofa, Fatalofatu, it's Tim Tawhanga here. It's the 7th of March, Saturday, 2026, and I think the hot topic on the national security analysts throughout the world is obviously the Iranian war, and which is an interesting conflict that's just it's about 7 days old now, and so far the Operation Epic Fury and Operation Roaring Lion, as the Israeli operation is called, has progressed as planned. And I have been talking to a number of people on social media, and most of it has been on the negative against the Americans and Israelis. That is primarily due to the fact that NATO is not involved, and European nations are highly critical from the standpoint of the Palestinian situation, which had already demonized the Israelis in the eyes of the European Union and NATO member nations, in particular Britain. Now, added to this Israeli and American pet aversion by the European Union and NATO member nations is the Donroe Doctrine by President Trump and his administration, with the America First objective for the current administration as the 47th president tenure within the United States of America. From that standpoint, the British in particular are not in favor of the Trump administration. Added to the mercantilist economic viewpoints of the Trump administration, the tariff war with European countries has only exacerbated this situation for the Trump administration. Now, referring back to the Iranian US conflict, now known as Operation Epic Fury. There's been a lot of analysts making comparisons to previous US conflicts in the region, which had been overall unsuccessful. But what were the successful conflicts within the region for the Americans? Well, obviously it was the Operation Desert Storm in 1991, with the overthrow of the Ba'athist regime of Saddam Hussein, when he had miscalculated his invasion of Kuwait. Now, 35 years later, we now have a poetic justice kind of situation whereby the Iranians have always been the pet aversion of the various American administrations, primarily due to the linkages of the IRGC and the Hezbollah, and the nuclear enrichment program of the Iranian governments since the Israelis pointed it out, and Mossad had inserted the Stuxnet virus in their Mossad operations to undermine and to degrade the Iranian uranium enrichment program, so that they could develop their nuclear missile program, and of course that failed. Now, recently, we had the Operation Midnight Hammer, which degraded the Fordo nuclear plant, as well as the Natanz nuclear plant, which has degraded and undermined the Iranian nuclear development program. So we now have a successful operation by the Americans. Now, from a geostrategic and geopolitical standpoint, we have a lot of correlation between previous conflicts in which the Americans have been involved, and most people would regard this conflict as a groupthink by the Central Intelligence Agency and the wonks, the national security wonks within Pentagon. A groupthink in the sense that it's yet another futile regime change initiative under Kurds program by the Central Intelligence Agency Kurds program. We all know what that means, covert operations in terms of degrading democratic systems or undemocratic regimes in various countries that are anti-American. So Iran is high on the list on that category. Now, what has happened since the Operation Epic Fury has been a lot of allegations of groupthink on the part of the American Trump administration and their advisors. So what we need to understand is the difference between the Iranian situation from all other previous Middle Eastern engagements by the US military. First and foremost is the Shia regime, the IRGC, and the Shia Caliphate of the Ayatollah Khamenei and his Shia Caliphate, which has become notorious of late since the subsequent repressions of the Iranian people. Now, we need to understand how this Iranian conflict differs from other previous conflicts in the region, namely the comparisons with Afghanistan. Afghanistan was overall an invasion of a nation that was not necessarily united. There was always a divisive group of ethnic groups, Pashtunis and various ethnicity tribal groups that were at odds with each other. But overall, the Taliban were unified as compared to what has happened recently with an allegation that up to 36,000 Iranian people have been systematically, summarily punished and imprisoned, tortured and murdered by the IRGC. Now, that in itself has given a noble cause for the Americans and the Israelis. So there is some form of collaboration amongst the Iranian local people with the Israeli and the Americans. So that has given an impetus and a localized collaborations and complicity by amongst the Iranian people themselves. So that is the current situation. Now, moving further, in recent days, not trying to undermine the tactical objectives of the Operation Epic Fury. The Iranian Kurds have initiated a boots on the ground insurrection of sorts, primarily from Iranian Kurdistan regions, which is north west of Iran. So we got to understand that the ethnicity breakdown of the Iranians is made up of 61% Persians or Farsi speaking Iranians, and the ethnicity groups of Iran is 14% of Iranians are what do they call it? Azerbaijani people, and 10% of the Iranian population is Kurds. The rest are Laks, or people from the Loristan province, and then you have the Lurs people that speak Luri language. Now these people are in southwestern Iran, and so you got these predominant groups. So north of Tehran, you've got a lot of Mazandarani or Tabari people who have their own culture and their own language that differs from the Arab-speaking people. So the Arabs, and that predominates the Shia religion, are less than the Persians within Iran. That in itself, in its ethnicity breakdown, gives a justification, a raison d'etre for the likelihood of success of this regime change. So at the present moment, things are slowly unfolding, but the Kurds have initiated